Hey guys! Looks like we have a couple people in here already, and we will get started here shortly. If anybody needs prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. Tonight I am reading 1 Kings 10 through the end, and then we will finish up with a reading from John since we're going into Resurrection Sunday or Easter. So I am going to take a drink, and then I'm just going to go ahead and start reading. Again, if anybody needs prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. Actually, once again, I meant to take my ibuprofen before we got started. So I'm going to grab that now that I have thought of it. What is everybody doing for the holiday tomorrow? Do you have any traditions or a certain meal? Will you be going to church? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to get to know you. Okay. Also, I think my noise gate is off right now because when I played music in a different stream, it would not hear the music if I had it on. So I am sorry if you have to hear the fan and everything. I did opt to use my overhead fan instead of my window fan, so it shouldn't be as loud. Let's see here. First Kings chapter 10. Now when the Queen of Sheba heard about the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to test him with difficult questions. So she came to Jerusalem with a very large retinue, with camels carrying spices and very much gold and precious stones. When she came to Solomon, she spoke with him about all that was in her heart. Solomon answered all her questions. Nothing was hidden from the king which he did not explain to her. When the Queen of Sheba perceived all the wisdom of Solomon, the house that he had built, the food of his table, the seating of his servants, the attendance of his waiters and their attire, his cupbearers, and his stairway by which he went up to the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her. Then she said to the king, "It was a true report which I heard in my own land about your words and your wisdom. Nevertheless, I did not believe the reports until I came and my eyes had seen it. And behold, the half was not told me. You exceed in wisdom and prosperity the report which I heard." Actually, give me just a second here because it's lagging. I don't know what's going on. Let me refresh it real quick. It may be that I have the quality up a little higher. Let's see. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and get the shorts or vertical stream going. since it seems like we don't really have anybody in here right now anyway. Okay. So it'll just take me a minute to get this going. And if anybody joins and you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. Just take me a second to get the stream going over on the short speed. Although maybe most people are asleep preparing for tomorrow. So we'll see. It can't hurt to try. And I haven't been live much this week. I tried to go live Good Friday morning at the 9th hour. And nobody made it. So apparently 5 o'clock in the morning is not the time to be going live. And that's okay too. Okay. About to get this live going here in just a moment. Okay. I wasn't sure I was going to do the shorts one, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it now. Give me just a second. And if anybody needs prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. All right, almost ready to get this started here. All right, just gotta click start now. There we go. And the live is now going on the short speed as well. Make sure I have the sound off. I do. All right. So again, I am going to be reading 1 Kings chapter 10 through the end of 1 Kings, and then we will finish up with John 20 for Resurrection Sunday. Oh, actually, I do need to start. I know what I'll do. I will put on my hotspot. That'll speed things up for us. Oh, hey, thanks for the love. Somebody is in here. Okay, I'm waiting for this. I'm gonna pop open the stream so that I can follow along for comments over there. Give me just a moment. Okay. Put on the live comments, the live chat. Hey, Scott. I'm glad I started the vertical stream. I didn't see anybody over in the other one, so I started the vertical stream. And here you are. I'm glad I did. How are you? Happy almost Resurrection Sunday. All right. Do you have any plans for tomorrow, Scott? I do actually have to turn on my other fan because it's just a little bit too warm in here for me. While I'm fixing things up, I might as well try to go ahead and get my noise gate put back on. So give me a second here and I will do that. I'd love to hear if anybody has any plans for Sunday. Okay, there's the noise suppression. Okay. So there, you shouldn't have to listen to my fan so loud now. At least in the main stream. The vertical stream I can't do anything about. Yes, happy Resurrection Day. I know people have feelings about saying happy Easter, but I do that as well. Most people don't really say the Resurrection Sunday thing. Regardless of how you word it, it is what it is, right? Jesus has risen. He is risen. Praise God. Okay. So, I'm going to start back over 1 Kings chapter 10. Now the Queen of Sheba heard the report about Solomon concerning the name of Yahweh. So she came to test him with riddles. She came to Jerusalem with a very glorious retinue, with camels carrying spices and very much gold and precious stones. And she came to Solomon and spoke to him about all that was in her heart. And Solomon declared to her the answer to all her matters. There was not a matter which was hidden from the king which he did not declare to her. Then the Queen of Sheba saw all the wisdom of Solomon, the house that he had built, the food of his table, the seating of his servants, the disposition of his attendants and their attire, his cupbearers, and his stairway by which he went up to the house of Yahweh, so that there was no more spirit in her. Then she said to the king, "The word is true, which I heard in my own land about your words and your wisdom. Nevertheless, I did not believe those words until I came and my eyes had seen it. And behold, the half was not declared to me. You exceed in wisdom and prosperity the report which I heard. How blessed are you? How blessed are your men? How blessed are these your servants who stand before you continually and hear your wisdom? Blessed be Yahweh your God, who delighted in you to set you on the throne of Israel. Because Yahweh loved Israel forever, therefore he made you king to do justice and righteousness." Then she gave the king 120 talents of gold and a very great amount of spices and precious stones. Never again did such abundance of spices come in as that which the Queen of Sheba gave King Solomon. Also the ships of Hiram, which carried gold from Ophir, brought in from Ophir a very great number of almond trees and precious stones. And the king made of the almond trees supports for the house of Yahweh and for the king's house. Also lyres and harps for the singers, such almond trees have not come in again, such almond trees have not come in again, nor have they been seen to this day. Thus King Solomon gave to the Queen of Sheba all her desire which she asked, besides what he gave her according to his royal bounty. Then she turned and went to her own land, she and her servants. Oh, you're sick of the rain? Yeah, we had a couple nice days, and then it was like torrential downpours as per usual, you know? Did you get my message on Discord? Excuse me. Now the weight of gold which came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold, besides that from the traders and the wares of the merchants and all the kings of the Arabs and the governors of the country. And King Solomon made 200 large shields of beaten gold, using 600 shekels of gold on each large shield. And he made 300 shields of beaten gold, using 3 minas of gold on each shield. And the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. Moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory and overlaid it with refined gold. There were 6 steps to the throne, and a round top to the throne at its rear, and arms on each side of the seat, and 2 lions standing beside the arms. 12 lions were also standing there on the 6 steps on the one side and on the other. Nothing like it was made for all the other kingdoms. Now all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None was of silver. It was not considered valuable in the days of Solomon. For the king had at sea the ships of Tarshish with the ships of Hiram. Once every 3 years the ships of Tarshish came carrying gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. So King Solomon became greater than all the kings of the earth in riches and in wisdom. And all the earth was seeking the presence of Solomon, to hear his wisdom which God had put in his heart. And they brought every man his present, articles of silver and gold, garments, weapons, spices, horses, and mules, a set amount year by year. And Solomon gathered chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, and stationed them in the chariot cities and with the king in Jerusalem. The king also made silver as plentiful as stones in Jerusalem, and he made cedars as plentiful as sycamore trees that are in the Shephelah. Solomon's import of horses was from Egypt and Kue. The king's merchants procured them from Kue for a price. And a chariot was imported from Egypt for 600 shekels of silver, and a horse for 150. And by the same means they exported them to all the kings of the Hittites and to the kings of Aram. And that was chapter 10 of 1 Kings. That's okay, Scott. No worries. Welcome to those just coming in. God bless you. If anybody needs prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. And give me just a moment real quick to check some settings. In the message, Scott, I was trying to send you some creamer. I was going to send you just a bunch of individual little creamers, you know, like you'd get at a coffee shop, but it would not ship it to Canada. So then I tried a different brand, and I tried powdered creamer. It's this really high quality heavy cream powder that you just add water. So it would be like adding you call it double cream to your coffee. And I was so disappointed. So that's why you didn't get anything in the mail, but I'm going to send you something different that I will ship myself. So I won't have to worry about the rules, I guess. But, for that, I don't think I can ship that kind of stuff either. I'll have to check into the rules that I have to abide by. But I have something else I do want to send you anyway. Okay, so fixing this one little setting here real quick. And then we will continue on to chapter 11 of 1 Kings. Okay. Should be good to go now. Yep. Let me take a drink and we will carry on. Scott, I just know how it is. For one, coffee can be so helpful. It's good for you. A lot of people don't realize that. But also, you know, it's something that's comforting, and it's something we tend to rely on, right? And I just thought if you had those little shelf-stable packets or the powder, then when you were out, you'd have something to fall back on. Because I've been there, you know? I know how it is to run out of something that you prefer not to run out of, right? Okay, so 1 Kings chapter 11. Now King Solomon loved many foreign women, along with the daughter of Pharaoh, Moabite, Ammonite, Edomite, Sidonian, and Hittite women, from the nations concerning which Yahweh had said to the sons of Israel, "You shall not go along with them, nor shall they go along with you, for they will surely turn your heart away after their gods." Solomon clung to these in love, and he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned his heart away. Now it happened at the time that Solomon was old, his wives turned his heart away after other gods, and his heart was not wholly devoted to Yahweh his God, as the heart of David his father had been. For Solomon went after Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and after Milcom, the detestable idol of the Ammonites. And Solomon did what was evil in the sight of Yahweh, and did not follow Yahweh fully, as David his father had done. Then Solomon built a high place for Chemosh, the detestable idol of Moab, on the mountain which is east of Jerusalem, and for Moloch, the detestable idol of the sons of Ammon. Thus also he did for all his foreign wives who burned incense and sacrificed to their gods. Now Yahweh was angry with Solomon because his heart was turned away from Yahweh, the God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not walk after other gods. But he did not keep what Yahweh had commanded. So Yahweh said to Solomon, because this has happened with you, you have not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded you, so I will surely tear the kingdom from you, and will give it to your servant. Nevertheless, I will not do it in your days for the sake of your father David, but I will tear it out of the hand of your son. However, I will not tear away all the kingdom, but I will give one tribe to your son for the sake of my servant David, and for the sake of Jerusalem, which I have chosen. Then Yahweh raised up an adversary to Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the seed of the king in Edom. Now it happened that when David was in Edom, and Joab, the commander of the army, had gone up to bury the slain, and had struck down every male in Edom, for Joab and all Israel stayed there 6 months, until he had cut off every male in Edom, that Hadad fled to Egypt, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him, while Hadad was a young boy. Then they arose from Midian and came to Paran, and they took men with them from Paran and came to Egypt, to Pharaoh king of Egypt. And he gave him a house and assigned him food and gave him land. And Hadad found great favor in the sight of Pharaoh. So he gave him as a wife the sister of his own wife, the sister of Tapenes the queen. And the sister of Tapenes bore his son Genubath. And Tapenes weaned him in Pharaoh's house, and Genubath was in Pharaoh's house among the sons of Pharaoh. Welcome to those just coming in. God bless you. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm always happy to pray with anybody who needs it. Dropped a pinned comment down there so that people can get to the Discord, since it keeps popping up on the screen. Okay. But Hadad heard in Egypt that David slept with his fathers, and that Joab, the commander of the army, had died. So Hadad said to Pharaoh, send me away, that I may go to my own country. Then Pharaoh said to him, but what have you lacked with me, that, behold, you are seeking to go to your own country? And he answered, nothing. Nevertheless, you must surely let me go. And God raised up another adversary to him, Rezin, the king of Eliada, who had fled from his lord Hadadezer, king of Jobah. And he gathered men to himself and became commander of a marauding band, after David killed some of them. And they went to Damascus and stayed there, and reigned in Damascus. So he was an adversary to Israel all the days of Solomon, along with the evil that Hadad did, and he abhorred Israel and reigned over Aram. Now Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, an Ephraimite of Zereda, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow, also raised his hand against the king. Now this was the reason why he raised his hand against the king. Solomon built the Millo and closed up the breach of the city of his father David. Now the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon saw that the young man was industrious, and appointed him over all the load bearers of the house of Joseph. Now it happened at that time that Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, and that the prophet Ahijah, the Shilonite, found him on the road. Now he had covered himself with a new cloak, and both of them were alone in the field. Then Ahijah took hold of the new cloak which was on him, and tore it into 12 pieces. And he said to Jeroboam, take for yourself 10 pieces, for thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, behold, I will tear the kingdom of out of the hand of Solomon, and give you 10 tribes, but he will have 1 tribe for the sake of my servant David, and for the sake of Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen from all the tribes of Israel, because they have forsaken me, and have worshipped Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Sidonians, Chemosh, the god of Moab, and Milcom, the god of the sons of Ammon. And they have not walked in my ways to do what is right in my sight, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as his father David did. Nevertheless, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him ruler all the days of his life, for the sake of my servant David, whom I chose, who kept my commandments and my statutes. But I will take the kingdom from his son's hand, and give it to you, the 10 tribes. But to his son I will give one tribe, that my servant David may have a lamp always before me in Jerusalem, the city where I have chosen for myself to put my name. And I will take you, and you shall reign over whatever your soul desires, and you shall be king over Israel. Then it will be that if you listen to all that I command you and walk in my ways, and do what is right in my sight to keep my statutes and my commandments, as my servant David did, then I will be with you and build you an enduring house as I built for David, and I will give Israel to you. Thus I will afflict the seed of David for this, but not always. Solomon sought therefore to put Jeroboam to death, but Jeroboam arose and fled to Egypt, to Shishak king of Egypt, and he was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. Now the rest of the acts of Solomon and whatever he did, and his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the acts of Solomon? Thus the time that Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel was 40 years. And Solomon slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of his father David, and his son Rehoboam became king in his place. And that was chapter 11 of 1 Kings. Okay. How is everybody doing? I'm going to take a drink. I'm so glad that your head is giving you some peace tonight. Hopefully it stays that way. I pray for you very often. I'm so sorry for coughing in your guys' ears. I usually try to mute when I'm going to cough or clear my throat, but I don't always catch it in time. 1 Kings chapter 12. Then Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel had come to Shechem to make him king. And it happened when Jeroboam the son of Nebat heard of it, he was living in Egypt, for he was yet in Egypt, where he had fled from the presence of King Solomon. Then they sent and called for him, and Jeroboam and all the assembly of Israel came and spoke to Rehoboam, saying, Your father made our yoke harsh, but you now lighten the harsh service of your father and his heavy yoke which he put on us, and we will serve you. Then he said to them, Go for 3 days, then return to me. So the people went away. Then King Rehoboam took counsel with the elders who had stood before his father Solomon while he was still alive, saying, How do you counsel me to respond to this people? And they spoke to him, saying, If you will be a servant to this people today, and will serve them and grant them their petition, and speak good words to them, then they will be your servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the elders, which they had counseled him, and took counsel with the young men who grew up with him and stood before him. So he said to them, What counsel do you give, that we may respond to this people who have spoken to me, saying, Lighten the yoke which your father put on us? Then the young men who grew up with him spoke to him, saying, Thus you shall say to this people who spoke to you, saying, Your father made our yoke heavy, now you make it lighter for us. Thus you shall speak to them. My little finger is thicker than my father's loins. Wow. So now my father loaded you with a heavy yoke, but I will add to your yoke. My father disciplined you with whips, but I will discipline you with scorpions. Harsh. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam on the 3rd day, as the king had spoken, saying, Return to me on the 3rd day. And the king answered the people harshly, and he forsook the counsel of the elders which they had given him. And he spoke to them according to the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to your yoke. My father disciplined you with whips, but I will discipline you with scorpions. So the king did not listen to the people, for it was a turn of events from Yahweh, that he might establish his word, which Yahweh spoke through Ahijah the Shilonite of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Then all Israel saw that the king did not listen to them. So the people responded to the king with this word, saying, "What portion do we have in David? We have no inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Now see to your own house, David." So Israel went to their tents. Goodness. Sorry. I don't know why. This always happens. Only when I go live and I'm reading. Actually, I think it happens when I'm over at the desk. I wonder if it's because I have a bunch of birds living in my wall on this side. I hear them before dawn every morning. But as for the sons of Israel who lived in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the forced labor, and all Israel stoned him, and he died. And King Rehoboam made haste to mount his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. So Israel has been in rebellion against the house of David to this day. Now it happened when all Israel heard that Jeroboam had returned, that they sent and called him to the congregation and made him king over all Israel. None but the tribe of Judah followed the house of David. Then Rehoboam came to Jerusalem and assembled all the house of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men who could wage war to fight against the house of Israel to return the kingdom of Rehoboam the son of Solomon. But the word of God came to Shemaiah the man of God, saying, "Speak to Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the rest of the people, saying, Thus says Yahweh, you shall not go up and fight against your brothers, the sons of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me." So they listened to the word of Yahweh and returned to go their way according to the word of Yahweh. And Jeroboam built Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim and lived there. And he went out from there and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, "Now the kingdom will return to the house of David. If this people go up to offer sacrifices in the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem, then the heart of this people will return to their Lord, even to Rehoboam king of Judah. And they will kill me and return to Rehoboam king of Judah." So the king took counsel and made 2 golden calves. Haven't we been here before, guys? Yeah, I love hearing the birds too. It's wonderful out here for that. But they're like clawing around in my walls, building their nest and stuff. And of course, I would much rather it be them building nests in my walls than like a rodent or something. So praise God for that. And I still like hearing them in the morning, but I wonder if they're doing any damage or maybe causing me allergies. So the king took counsel and made 2 golden calves. And he said to them, "It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold your gods, O Israel, that brought you up from the land of Egypt." And he set one in Bethel, and one he put in Dan. Now this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one as far as Dan. And he made houses on high places, and made priests from among all the people who were not of the sons of Levi. And Jeroboam made a feast in the 8th month on the 15th day of the month, like the feast which is in Judah. And he went up to the altar, thus he did in Bethel, to sacrifice to the calves which he had made. I mean, that's so wild to me. It's like, okay, so I'm making a journal right now. So if I bind to this journal, and then I'm like, this is my God, and I sacrifice to it and worship it and stuff. Like, you made it. How can it be a God or be anything? It's just wild. Just wild to me. The golden calves always just get me all up in my head. Like, what in the world? Anyway. And he had the priests of the high places which he had made stand in Bethel. Then he went up to the altar which he had made in Bethel on the 15th day in the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised in his own heart. And he made a feast for the sons of Israel, and went up to the altar to burn incense. And that was chapter 12 of 1 Kings. Yeah, what were they thinking? I don't know. I don't know if they were not thinking, or if they were overthinking, or if they weren't. I just don't even know. It's so wild to me in the days when, of course we have the Holy Spirit now, but back then I don't know, from my viewpoint, it just seems like they had God in a more tangible way. Oh, hey, Jer, welcome. How are you doing tonight? And yet, even when, they could see and hear God in the cloud that went before them and everything, they still made those things, those calves, and it's just wild to me. So why would we expect people to worship God or turn from the idols that they have now, if even then when they could see and hear God, they didn't, very sad. Happy Resurrection Sunday, Jer. Do you have any plans? How do you and your family celebrate Easter? I'm glad you could make it here. It seems like everybody is going over to the shorts stream when they do join, although it's been a fairly quiet night anyway. So I'm going to take a drink, and then we will carry on reading. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean for that to be so loud. Okay, 1 Kings chapter 13. Now behold, there came a man of God from Judah to Bethel by the word of Yahweh, while Jeroboam was standing by the altar to burn incense. And he cried against the altar by the word of Yahweh and said, O altar, altar, thus says Yahweh, behold, a son shall be born to the house of David, Josiah is his name, and on you he shall sacrifice the priests of the high places who burn incense on you, and human bones shall be burned on you. Then he gave a miraculous sign the same day, saying, This is the miraculous sign which Yahweh has spoken. Behold, the altar shall be torn apart, and the ashes which are on it shall be poured out. Now it happened that when the king heard the word of the man of God, which he cried against the altar in Bethel, Jeroboam stretched out his hand from the altar, saying, Seize him. But his hand which he stretched out against him dried up, so that he could not draw it back to himself. The altar also was torn apart, and the ashes were poured out from the altar, according to the miraculous sign which the man of God had given by the word of Yahweh. Then the king answered and said to the man of God, Please entreat Yahweh your God, and pray for me, that my hand may be restored to me. So the man of God entreated Yahweh, and the king's hand was restored to him, and it became as it was before. Then the king said to the man of God, Come home with me and refresh yourself, and I will give you a gift. Hey, Adam. How are you? I'm glad you're here. Happy Resurrection Sunday, almost. But the man of God said to the king, If you were to give me half your house, I would not go with you, nor would I eat bread or drink water in this place. For so it was commanded me by the word of Yahweh, saying, You shall eat no bread, nor drink water, nor return by the way which you came. So he went another way and did not return by the way which he came to Bethel. Now an old prophet was living in Bethel, and his sons came and recounted to him all the work which the man of God had done that day in Bethel, the words which he had spoken to the king. These also they recounted to their father. I'm glad you're fine. Fine, hopefully fine as in the good, actually fine way. Coming from a woman, you hear fine and you're like, what's going on, honey? Spill your guts. Oh, Mick! Hey, I'm so glad you're here. How are you doing? I've missed you. God bless each of you, and happy almost Resurrection Sunday. God is good, and he is risen. Okay. And their father said to them, Which way did he go? And his sons had seen the way which the man of God, who came from Judah, had gone. Then he said to his sons, Saddle the donkey for me. So they saddled the donkey for him, and he rode away on it. So he went after the man of God and found him sitting under an oak, and he said to him, Are you the man of God who came from Judah? And he said, I am. Then he said to him, "Come home with me and eat bread." And he said, "I cannot return with you, nor go with you, nor will I eat bread or drink water with you in this place. For a word came to me by the word of Yahweh, you shall eat no bread, nor drink water there. Do not return by going the way which you came." And he said to him, "I also am a prophet like you, and an angel spoke to me by the word of Yahweh, saying, Bring him back with you to your house, that he may eat bread and drink water." But he dealt falsely with him. So he went back with him and ate bread in his house and drank water. Did he not think to confer with God about it? Well, the God Squad is how the God Squad usually is. I don't think we've had anybody join since you haven't been around. Yeah. Everybody's just praying, chatting here and there like we do. We haven't had any movie nights recently. We should plan one, though. Now it happened as they were sitting down at the table that the word of Yahweh came to the prophet who had brought him back, and he called out to the man of God who came from Judah, saying, "Thus says Yahweh, because you have rebelled against the word of Yahweh and have not kept the commandment which Yahweh your God commanded you, but have returned and eaten bread and drunk water in the place of which he said to you, Eat no bread and drink no water, your body shall not come to the grave of your fathers." Now it happened after he had eaten bread and after he had drunk, that he saddled the donkey for him, for the prophet whom he had brought back. Then he went, and on the way a lion met him and put him to death, and his body was thrown on the road with the donkey standing beside it. The lion also was standing beside the body. And behold, men passed by and saw the body thrown on the road, and the lion standing beside the body. So they came and spoke about it in the city where the old prophet lived. Then the prophet who brought him back from the way heard it and said, "It is the man of God who rebelled against the command of Yahweh. Therefore Yahweh has given him to the lion, which has mauled him and put him to death, according to the word of Yahweh which he spoke to him." Then he spoke to his son, saying, "Saddle the donkey for me." And they saddled it. And he went and found his body thrown on the road with the donkey, and the lion standing beside the body. The lion had not eaten the body, nor mauled the donkey. So the prophet took up the body of the man of God and laid it on the donkey and brought it back. And he came to the city of the old prophet to mourn and to bury him. He laid his body in his own grave, and they mourned over him, saying, "Alas, my brother." Now it happened after he had buried him, that he spoke to his son, saying, "When I die, you shall bury me in the grave in which the man of God is buried. Lay my bones beside his bones. For the word shall surely happen, which he cried by the word of Yahweh against the altar in Bethel, and against all the houses of the high places which are in the cities of Samaria." After this event, Jeroboam did not return from his evil way, but he returned and made priests of the high places from among all the people. Any who delighted to be so, he ordained. So they became priests of the high places, and this event became sin to the house of Jeroboam, even to blot it out and destroy it from the face of the earth. And that was chapter 13 of 1 Kings. Oh, that's true. I guess, Jer, I thought you had been around when Mick was here. I'm sorry about that. Jer is, he is a very active fixture in the God Squad Discord. He posts every day Bible verses and stuff. He has been a blessing. A young brother. Let's see. I'm going to read back in the comments. Yes, movie nights are a lot of fun. And also, I would like to start doing some lives where people come and talk. Would you be interested in doing that, Mick? Like just coming and being on a live mic where we could talk and study and read and whatever we want to do during the live. We also are trying to figure out what everybody's time zone is on the Discord, because Carla wants to start a Bible study. So she needs to know when, and we'd be doing that in the Discord. And also Katrina wants to start doing prayer meetings. So we're just kind of hoping to figure out when everybody is available so we can do that. Scott, I've been thinking about that. Actually, I was thinking about it the other day. So here we go. Add as moderator, standard moderator. There you go. Enjoy the shield, Jer. Use your power wisely, son. Oh, grasshopper. Yeah, Katrina is fun to chat with. She usually comes to the lives. And the lives and the movie nights. He does. Jared's got a hammer. I'm so glad you guys are here. Mick, have you been well? I was worried about you. I mean, you don't have to like tell me when you're not going to be around or whatever, but I do worry when you're not. The girl in me is like, oh no, did I say or do something wrong? You know, but the mom in me is always like, I hope he's okay. You know, is something wrong? And then the brain in me is like, he's allowed to, you know, you aren't, you know, beholden to me or anything like that. I do worry when you don't, at least check in every so often. I'm just glad you're here now. I'm not lecturing you. I hope you don't feel that way. I just want you to know that I do care about you and miss you when you weren't here. I have actually been wondering about Robin. Excuse me. In fact, I'm just going to pull up my Facebook and see if I can message Robin, because I haven't seen her around in quite some time. And I've messaged her a couple times, but as far as I know, she has not messaged back. So I hope she's okay. Maybe be in prayer for her. If you guys think of it. I know I have been praying for her. Okay. Check messages on here real quick, and then we will get back to reading. Oh no, she hasn't. Gonna send her a message real quick. All right. Also, I have been doing so many crafting things, and it's interesting because, I mean, I've done crafts throughout my life, don't get me wrong, but I've never felt like I was capable of doing a lot of things, and I've always wanted to paint, so I actually have some acrylic paints on the way, and I have some watercolors, and I'm going to start doing that. But I made a journal. It's a paper bag journal. I'm going to do a video to show everybody, but and I'm telling you, when I'm doing art, I feel alive. It's totally a different side of me that I'm really excited to have. So that has been good. Let's see. Katie, you should add me on Facebook. That's my personal Facebook, but you can go on to my, actually I can get the, let me get you the link for my, it's actually in my bio too, but let me go to the link for the ears to hear. And I don't really have very, there's 12 followers. Facebook really doesn't seem to like me for some reason. No matter what I do. I even actually did an ad once to try and get people interested in the channel on Facebook, and nothing really came of it. Okay, so let me figure out what my link is over here. See if I can share. I'm not used to using Facebook on the computer. see. I don't know. I guess I don't know how to. There should be like a share option somewhere, right? How frustrating. Here, I'll go to settings. Maybe that'll, yeah. Give me just a second and I'll try to find it for you, Scott. Actually, I don't want to derail the live doing this, but if you check my channel description, or I'll send it to you later. Oh, okay, I could do it that way. Sure. I will message from there. Wow, I feel really silly on, it's totally different on the computer than it is. Okay, let me search for you. And once I bring you up, then it should let me message you. What will your picture be at? Will it be you? Oh, it is. Yep, that's you. You're the first one to pop up. All right, so yeah, you can't friend as a channel or whatever, but I can. Oh, I'm not even sure if it's gonna let me message you. Maybe I can comment on a post. Nope, it doesn't let me comment or anything because it's from a page. But if you just search for Ears to Hear Bible Reading on Facebook, it should come up. It's a page, not a group. Katrina, girl, I was talking about you just a couple minutes ago. I'm so glad you're here. Yes, Mick, it does. I feel so alive when I'm doing it, and it's nice. Yeah, just search it on there. Okay. How are you, Katrina? Happy almost Resurrection Sunday. How do you celebrate? I'd love to hear everybody's plans for tomorrow and how you spend the day. Tired? Girl, I hope you were able to get some rest. I hope things are getting better for you too. You are always in my prayers. Hi, Steven. Do you want to say hello? We've got a bunch of people here. We've got Mick, Katrina, we have Jer. Jer just got to become a mod, so that's exciting. We have Adam, we have Scott. Let's see, I don't see anybody else, I don't think. Carla's not here tonight. I hope she's doing well as well. Yes. God bless anybody who is joining right now. You are welcome. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm glad you've joined us, and happy almost Resurrection Sunday. Hop in the comments and tell me how you celebrate, if you do.
Oh, I forgot that Easter was the resurrection of Jesus.
You forgot, and how did you manage to do that?
I don't know.
Well, that's okay. We should watch the stories from the Bible. Heyo! We'll watch that later, okay? So you don't know about the holidays and celebrations your family does for Easter? Christmas, yeah. Are you going to church tomorrow? I've lost track of... Scott says, hi, Stephen. It's PH, remember, Scott?
Hi, Scott.
Like that. I've lost track of who all... I know there's a few people who are between churches or looking for a new church home. So if I ask, hey, are you guys going to church tomorrow? It's definitely not because I'm trying to judge anybody. I know some people watch it online. Some people have different feelings about needing to go to church. And, you know, we were between churches again, but have finally found a really good one that's super close to home. So praise God for that.
Am I able to say why we changed?
No, I've already talked about that.
Oh.
Okay. Wow. More people coming in. Welcome. If anybody needs prayer, don't hesitate to ask. And now let's carry on into 1 Kings chapter 14. I will be finishing up 1 Kings tonight, and then we will end with John chapter 20. Yes, Katrina, it really feels good to have a church again and have it be right near home. Like, I could walk. It would take me a while because I'm a gimp, but we could. And it's a very, very small church, just a little country church. And everybody is so kind. So I'm very pleased. All right, 1 Kings chapter 14. Yeah, you know, after we've gone to all different sizes. And out here, we're 35 minutes away from either actual town. So it's hard to find a church. And the one that I had been really interested in taking my boys to, because I was really hoping to find something with a good children's program and a youth group. Because with homeschooled kids, you know, finding them a good community was, of course, important. But the one I was interested in was taking people to see, darn it, I always forget the guy's name, a false pastor. And I messaged them to make sure that that was like a church event because I had seen it on their Facebook. And they confirmed that, yeah, they had, and that they supported that pastor. So that was out. And then, so we drove to a church that was in the city, and it was going well until I started, you know, feeling the Holy Spirit kind of popping up red flags. And then that thing happened and we had to leave. So,
Yeah.
but at any rate, what were you going to say, Stephen?
I don't even remember what I was saying. I was going to say something.
Oh, the really cool thing is this church that we're going to now, I had checked into it before we went to that church in the city, and they didn't have a youth group. They were between pastors, and just, it seemed to be kind of like a church for older folks, and I wasn't really sure about their beliefs. They didn't have it on the site, and things just can't, I wasn't sure, you know. So we went to that other church, and then I looked it up again, and things had completely changed. They are right now using an interim pastor, but it looks like he is going to become the actual pastor. And they do have a lot of guest speakers, and every sermon we've seen has been positive. And it's funny because I watched them on YouTube. I watched a few of the sermons, and I noticed I couldn't comment because they had it set to made for kids, and they were only getting a few views. So the first time we went there, on the little introduce yourself card, I commented, hey, a little note to whoever runs your YouTube. You have it set to made for kids, so your sermons are not going to get out into the world. And the lady who saw it ended up sending me a text message and letting me know that she had given that to the right person. So hopefully they're able to get their, you know, church services out there.
Well, they're probably just...
At any rate, that was helpful to them, she said, and I'm very glad. If they were to ever need help, I would be more than happy to help them. Okay, 1 Kings chapter 14. Sorry, I do go on, guys. You like smaller churches too, Scott? Yeah. They are pleasant. What, Stephen?
Also, one of the pastors got fired.
He didn't get fired yet.
Yet?
I don't know. I haven't followed up on that. But yeah, he was on leave. It was like 3 or 4 weeks after we left. There was a message in the women's group of that church that he was being investigated for inappropriate or, some different content behavior. And I'm not sure what it was. Somebody came on there and said, if you have questions, you can direct it here or here. We're not going to gossip and so on and so forth. So I'm not sure what happened, but he was on leave for 30 days. And I don't know how. Well, I guess we'll see if they get a new pastor or not, but I've been praying for them either way.
That's not a fire situation. That's a peace.
Neither. No. It could have. It doesn't have to be anything illegal or it could be unethical. It could be that his beliefs don't line up with that church. I have no idea what it is, and I'm not going to speculate. I don't want to gossip about them. We just need to be praying, and it's good to know that the church is on top of things like that, regardless. Let's see. Jared said, so I posted the pictures of the Bible I was reading, and I sent out the verses. You almost forgot. What? Oh, I got your message. Thanks for that, Jared. I really appreciate that somebody is in there regularly posting and sharing actual scripture.
Is it Blanket Putin? I don't know which is that.
No, Weezy has gas. Okay. My cats. It's funny because Pernaby does not have gas. But Hattie always did, and all of her kittens do too. I've tried different foods. It doesn't seem to be anything actually related to their gut. It's like a genetic thing, I guess. I haven't really looked too much into it, but Stephen was smelling a stinky smell. So sorry for that. Welcome to those just coming in. God bless you. Looks like we're getting quite a crowd. I'm so glad you guys are here. If anybody needs prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. Oh, I'm not sure, Jer. Yes, come get some Jesus. Praise God. Yes, they are more accountable. And you can actually get to know people. It was really cool the very first time, the interim pastor, who I didn't even know was interim pastor at the time, came up and introduced himself. And then several different ladies did. And also our new chief of police attends this church. So I got to meet him, and that was really cool. Yeah, I love this small town. Hi, Weezy. Are you wanting some love? Oh, pretty girl. Okay. Oops, she knocked off my scarf. There we go. Okay. And once again, let's get started at 1 Kings chapter 14. I'm just so excited to see everybody that I start wanting to chat. We should, after the live, have a little voice chat. At that time, Abijah, the son of Jeroboam, became sick. And Jeroboam said to his wife, "Arise now and disguise yourself so that they will not know that you are the wife of Jeroboam, and go to Shiloh. Behold, Ahijah the prophet is there, who spoke concerning me that I would be king over this people. And take 10 loaves with you and some cakes and a jar of honey, and go to him. He will tell you what will happen to the boy." Then Jeroboam's wife did so, and arose and went to Shiloh, and came to the house of Ahijah. Now Ahijah could not see, for his eyes had set because of his old age. Now Yahweh had said to Ahijah, "Behold, the wife of Jeroboam is coming to inquire of you concerning her son, for he is sick." You shall say thus and thus to her, for it will be when she arrives that she will pretend to be another woman. Now it happened as Ahijah heard the sound of her feet coming in the doorway, that he said, Come in, wife of Jeroboam, why do you pretend to be another woman? For I am sent to you with a harsh message. Oh, I'm sorry, Wheezy. I didn't realize that my paint brush was in front of your...
To be another person,
Mm-hmm.
God just says...
Yeah. Stephen's pointing out, imagine like a criminal or somebody comes up trying to pretend they're somebody else and God just tells you, hey, that's not how it is. And you say it to them. Imagine the surprise. For I am sent to you with a harsh message. Go say to Jeroboam, thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, because I exalted you from among the people and made you ruler over my people Israel and tore the kingdom away from the house of David and gave it to you, yet you have not been like my servant David, who kept my commandments and who walked after me with all his heart to do only that which was right in my sight. You also have done more evil than all who were before you. You're going to hear my kitten crunching her food, maybe. Sorry. And have gone and made it for yourself other gods and molten images to provoke me to anger, and have cast me behind your back. Therefore, behold, excuse me, I am bringing evil on the house of Jeroboam. I will cut off from Jeroboam every male person, both bond and free in Israel, and I will make a clean sweep of the house of Jeroboam as one sweeps away dung until it is all gone. Oh, here comes the train. Hugo was here.
Hugo's not here?
No, Hugo's not here tonight. He probably has church in the morning and is asleep.
Or maybe he's just family and trying to set.
Let's see. Jer said so and just posted it in the off topic. I wouldn't go with the off topic. Are you saying that... Let me bring up the Discord. I have to wait for this train to pass before I read anymore anyway. So you're saying that verses isn't showing up? I was wanting to rename that to scripture. I had noticed you weren't posting in there. What do you mean it's not popping up? Yeah, he has been in the Discord, but he goes to school and he helps with his youth group at church and, you know, has family and stuff like that. So, you know, sometimes he just can't make it. I actually, while we're talking about him, I'm just going to message him and make sure all is well. For those who don't know, his name in the Discord is Banana. That is Hugo.
Hey,
So I sent him a message. Like you say, I go to share, I go to Discord, click on it, and it doesn't pop up. Oh, well, you could just, when you're on the site with what you want to share, just copy the link. Are you talking about like the Bible app? Is that what you use? Let me see. Actually, here, I can just show you on my screen. Let me see. Where's the Bible app on my screen? You guys can see how many apps I have here.
Oh, I've seen.
Oh, there it is, right there. You guys won't see this over in the mainstream because it's just captured on my phone. Okay, so, all right, so here's the verse of the day. And then share. Oh, you're gonna see. Anyway, when you click share, go ahead and hit copy link. And that should get you what you need. And then you'd have to go and open Discord. So it is a little bit of a longer process, but that's how you would do it. What is this? This is not where I was. Oh my goodness, now I've messed up my whole situation. Why are all of my tabs all of a sudden gone? That's weird. No, that is not what I wanted. I'm struggling here. For some reason, all my tabs are closed. They weren't just a minute ago. At any rate. Oh, I have it open right here. I just wasn't even paying attention to that. Wow. Sorry, guys. At any rate, welcome to those joining us now, hearing me being a scattered brain. At any rate, yeah, I'm not sure why it doesn't pop up for that, but I don't know a whole lot about Discord to begin with. Also, I wonder where Rebel is tonight.
Probably asleep.
No, I don't think Rebel's asleep, but he may be working. Actually.
He works that way. Some people work overnight.
Yeah, some people do work overnight. Did you brush your teeth, by the way? You need to brush your teeth before you go to sleep, okay? Please. Yeah, I'm gonna message Rebel real quick.
Yeah. I'll
Okay. All right, let's get back to reading. Anyone belonging to Jeroboam who dies in the city, the dogs will eat, and he who dies in the field, the birds of the sky will eat. For Yahweh has spoken it. But you, arise, go to your house. When your feet enter the city, the child will die. And all Israel shall mourn for him and bury him, for he alone of Jeroboam's family will come to the grave, because in him something good was found toward Yahweh, the God of Israel, in the house of Jeroboam. What are you doing? Oh, okay. Moreover, Yahweh will raise up for himself a king over Israel, who will cut off the house of Jeroboam this day and from now on. So Yahweh will strike Israel as a reed is shaken in the water, and he will uproot Israel from this good land which he gave to their fathers, and will scatter them beyond the river, because they have made their Asherim, provoking Yahweh to anger. And he will give Israel over on account of the sins of Jeroboam, which he sinned, and with which he made Israel to sin. Then Jeroboam's wife arose and went away and came to Tirzah. As she was entering the threshold of the house, the child died, and all Israel buried him and mourned for him, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spoke through his servant Ahijah the prophet. Rebel, hey! You came! How are you doing? Happy almost Resurrection Sunday. Now the rest of the acts of Jeroboam, how he made war and how he reigned, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. Now the time that Jeroboam reigned was 22 years, and he slept with his fathers, and Nadab his son became king in his place. Now Rehoboam the son of Solomon became king in Judah. Rehoboam was 41 years old when he became king, and he reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, the city which Yahweh had chosen from all the tribes of Israel to put his name there. And his mother's name was Naamah the Ammonitess. And Judah did what was evil in the sight of Yahweh, and they provoked him to jealousy more than all that their fathers had done with the sins which they sinned. They also built for themselves high places and sacred pillars and Asherim on every high hill and beneath every green tree. There were also male cult prostitutes in the land. They did according to all the abominations of the nations which Yahweh dispossessed before the sons of Israel. Now it happened in the 5th year of King Rehoboam that Shishak king of Egypt came up against Jerusalem. And he took the treasures of the house of Yahweh and the treasures of the king's house, and he took everything. He even took all the shields of gold which Solomon had made. Then King Rehoboam made shields of bronze in their place and committed them into the hand of the commanders of the guard who kept the door of the king's house. Now it happened, as often as the king entered the house of Yahweh, that the guards would carry them and would bring them back into the guard's room. Wait, did you change your name? No? Maybe? Seems like it's different. Now the rest of the acts of Rehoboam and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? Now there was war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam all their days. And Rehoboam slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. And his mother's name was Naamah the Ammonitess. And Abijam, his son, became king in his place. And that was chapter 14 of 1 Kings. Oh, sorry, Jer, I was talking to Rebel. Okay, so I'm going to take a drink, and then we will continue on reading. Why don't you go and see if he's out? Did you have a cookie? You can have a cookie if you want before you brush your teeth. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say, I just thought maybe you were on a different account. Okay. Actually, my throat is starting to get sore, so I'm gonna have some of my raw honey. Oh, he's not out. You could ask him to just... Oh, that's alright. That's alright. Welcome to those just coming in. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. The honey helps coat my throat when I'm reading a lot.
You should ask Kenny to make a thing where you are just drinking honey.
Where I'm drinking honey?
Yeah.
I need to make one where I'm drinking water.
Yeah.
Also, I should have him do it where it puts a scarf on my head. Okay, 1 Kings chapter 15. If anybody needs prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. Now in the 18th year of King Jeroboam, the son of Naboth, Abijam, became king over Judah. He reigned 3 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Micaiah, the daughter of Abishalom. And he walked in all the sins of his fathers, which he had committed before him. And his heart was not wholly devoted to Yahweh his God, like the heart of his father David. But for David's sake, Yahweh his God gave him a lamp in Jerusalem to raise up his son after him and to establish Jerusalem, because David did what was right in the sight of Yahweh, and had not turned aside from anything that he commanded him all the days of his life, except in the case of Uriah the Hittite. Now there was war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam all the days of his life. Now the rest of the acts of Abijam and all he did... What's up?
I'm just wondering what this is.
Do you want me to turn the light off?
No, I'm just wondering what that's.
That's sleep. It just makes it all go down, I think. Now the rest of the acts of Abijam and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And there was war between Abijam and Jeroboam, and Abijam slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David, and Asa his son became king in his place. Now in the 20th year of Jeroboam, the king of Israel, Asa began to reign as king of Judah, and he reigned 41 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Micaiah, the daughter of Abishalom. Abishalom? Probably. And Asa did what was right in the sight of Yahweh, like David his father. He also put away the male cult prostitutes from the land and removed all the idols which his fathers had made. He also removed Micaiah his mother from being queen mother, because she had made a horrid image of Asherah, and Asa cut down her horrid image and burned it at the brook Kidron. But the high places were not removed. Nevertheless, the heart of Asa was wholly devoted to Yahweh all his days. And he brought into the house of Yahweh the holy things of his father and his own holy things, silver and gold utensils.
Why did they have that silver utensils? I get silver, but why gold?
Well, God had... Well, we'll talk about it later, but God had specific things he wanted made a specific way for the temple and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Now there was war between Asa and Baasha king of Israel all their days. And Baasha king of Israel went up against Judah and built up Ramah in order to prevent anyone from going out or coming into Asa king of Judah. Then Asa took all the silver and the gold which were left in the treasuries of the house of Yahweh and the treasuries of the king's house and delivered them into the hand of his servants. And King Asa sent them to Ben-Hadad, the son of Tabrimon, the son of Hezion, the king of Aram, who lived in Damascus, saying, that's a long sentence, huh? Let there be a covenant between you and me, as between my father and your father. Behold, I have sent you a gift of silver and gold. Go, break your covenant with Baasha king of Israel, so that he will withdraw from me. So Ben-Hadad listened to King Asa and sent the commanders of his military force against the cities of Israel and struck down Ijon, Dan, Abel Beth-Maachah, and all Chinneroth, beside all the land of Naphtali. Now it happened that when Baasha heard of it, he ceased building up Ramah and remained in Tirzah. Then King Asa caused an announcement to be heard throughout all Judah. None was exempt, and they carried away the stones of Ramah and its timber with which Baasha had been building. And King Asa built with them Geba of Benjamin and Mizpah. Hey, honey, can you go and see? It sounds like he got out of there, so you can go brush your teeth. And would you ask Kenneth if the print is done? And if you found his shirt for tomorrow. See what Jer said. So for me on my phone and my tablet, I have an app called Typeless. It uses the microphone to make it microphone only. You can't type really. And it's helpful for voice typing instead of regular. Oh, I see. Now the rest of all the acts of Asa and all his might and all that he did and the cities which he built, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? But in the time of his old age, he was diseased in his feet. And Asa slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father. And Jehoshaphat his son reigned in his place. Now Nadab the son of Jeroboam became king over Israel in the 2nd year of Asa king of Judah, and he reigned over Israel 2 years. And he did what was evil in the sight of Yahweh, and walked in the way of his father and in his sin, which he made Israel sin. Then Baasha the son of Ahijah of the house of Issachar conspired against him, and Baasha struck him down at Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines, while Nadab and all Israel were laying siege to Gibbethon. So Baasha put him to death in the 3rd year of Asa king of Judah, and became king in his place. Okay, all right, so I'm going to message Penny, and I'm just going to ask him to get you a new toothbrush so that you can brush your teeth at the kitchen.
Also, the print is done on those, so we didn't find the shirt. He didn't start. He never started the print.
Oh, he never started the print, and he hasn't found a shirt?
Yeah.
Well, he needs to get on that.
Yeah, he said it'll look in his closet.
Okay. Sorry, guys. There. So Baasha put him to death in the 3rd year of Asa king of Judah, and became king in his place. Now it happened that as soon as he was king, he struck down all the household of Jeroboam. He did not leave to Jeroboam anyone who drew breath until he had destroyed them, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spoke by the hand of his servant Ahijah the Shilonite. And because of the sins of Jeroboam, which he sinned, and which he made Israel sin, because of his provocation with which he provoked Yahweh, the God of Israel, to anger. Now the rest of the acts of Nadab and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? Now there was war between Asa and Baasha king of Israel all their days. In the 3rd year of Asa, king of Judah, Baasha the son of Ahijah became king over all Israel at Tirzah and reigned 24 years. And he did what was evil in the sight of Yahweh, and walked in the way of Jeroboam and in his sin, which he made Israel sin. Shocker. And that was chapter 15 of 1 Kings. Welcome to those just coming in. God bless you. And happy in 1 minute, for me anyway, Resurrection Sunday, or happy Easter. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm having to refresh my screen here real quick. Yeah, it's funny. It's telling me in the comment section and on the stream that there's only one person in here, yet there's 2 people talking currently. Okay. I'm going to take a drink real quick, and then we will keep on digging through the Bible. Oh, I just realized I can see my reflection in my microphone because the light behind me is on. I don't like it. Okay. Oh, more people joining us. Welcome. This is better than New Year's Day? Yes, 100%. Oh, you're on Kings 18 right now? 1 King? We're almost caught up. Are you going to just listen to me read after that? Are you going to continue in your private reading? Yes. Maranatha. Awesome, Jer. I love that. Okay. All right. 1 Kings chapter 16. Now the word of Yahweh came to Jehu, the son of Hanani, against Baasha, saying, Inasmuch as I exalted you from the dust and made you ruler over my people Israel, and you have walked in the way of Jeroboam, and have made my people Israel sin, provoking me to anger with their sins, behold, I am going to sweep away Baasha and his house, and I will make your house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Any one of Baasha who dies in the city, the dogs will eat, and anyone of his who dies in the field, the birds of the sky will eat. Now the rest of the acts of Baasha and what he did and his might, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Baasha slept with his fathers and was buried in Tirzah, and Elah his son became king in his place. Moreover, the word of Yahweh through the hand of the prophet Jehu the son of Hanani also came about against Baasha and his household, both because of all the evil which he did in the sight of Yahweh, provoking him to anger with the work of his hands, in being like the house of Jeroboam, and because he struck it. In the 26th year of Asa, king of Judah, Elah the son of Baasha became king over Israel at Tirzah, and reigned 2 years. And his servant Zimri, commander of half his chariots, conspired against him. Now he was at Tirzah, drinking himself drunk. Give me just a second. My hair is driving me nuts, so I'm going to take it out of the hair tie. Okay, now I gotta fix my scarf. Goodness. Okay. There we go. Now he was at Tirzah, drinking himself drunk in the house of Arza, who was over the household at Tirzah. Then Zimri went in and struck him and put him to death in the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, and became king in his place. Now it happened when he became king, as soon as he sat on his throne, that he struck down all the household of Baasha. He did not leave a single male, not even any of his kinsmen redeemers or his friends. Thus Zimri destroyed all the household of Baasha according to the word of Yahweh, which he spoke against Baasha by the hand of Jehu the prophet. For all the sins of Baasha and the sins of Elah his son, which they sinned, and which they made Israel sin, provoking Yahweh the God of Israel to anger with their idols. Now the rest of the acts of Elah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? In the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, Zimri reigned 7 days at Tirzah. Now the people were camped against Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines. And the people who were camped heard it said, Zimri has conspired and has also struck down the king. Therefore all Israel made Omri, the commander of the army, king over Israel that day in the camp. Then Omri and all Israel with him went up from Gibbethon and besieged Tirzah. Now it happened that when Zimri saw that the city was captured, he went into the citadel of the king's house and burned the king's house over him with fire, and died because of his sins which he sinned, doing what is evil in the sight of Yahweh, walking in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin which he did, making Israel sin. Now the rest of the acts of Zimri and his conspiracy which he carried out, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? Then the people of Israel were divided into 2 parts. Half of the people followed Tibni, the son of Ginath, to make him king. The other half followed Omri. But the people who followed Omri prevailed over the people who followed Tibni, the son of Ginath. Excuse me. And Tibni died, and Omri became king. In the 31st year of Asa, king of Judah, Omri became king over Israel and reigned 12 years. He reigned 6 years at Tirzah. And he bought the hill Samaria from Shemer for 2 talents of silver. And he built on the hill and named the city which he built Samaria after the name of Shemer, the son of the hill. Or Shemer. And Omri did what was evil in the sight of Yahweh, and acted more wickedly than all who were before him. For he walked in all the way of Jeroboam, the son of Naboth, and in his sins, which he made Israel sin, provoking Yahweh, the God of Israel, to anger with their idols. Now the rest of the acts of Omri, which he did, and his might which he showed, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? So Omri slept with his fathers and was buried in Samaria, and Ahab his son became king in his place. Now Ahab the son of Omri became king over Israel in the 38th year of Asa king of Judah, and Ahab the son of Omri reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. And Ahab the son of Omri did what was evil in the sight of Yahweh more than all who were before him. Now it happened, as though it had been a trivial thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam the son of Naboth, that he took Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Sidonians, as a wife, and went and served Baal and worshipped him. So he erected an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he built in Samaria. Ahab also made the Asherah. Thus Ahab did more to provoke Yahweh, the God of Israel, to anger than all the kings of Israel who were before him. In his days, Hiel the Bethelite built Jericho. He laid its foundations with the loss of Abiram his firstborn, and set up its gates with the loss of his youngest son Segub, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spoke by the hand of Joshua the son of Nun. And that was 1 Kings chapter 16. Welcome to those just joining us. Happy Resurrection Sunday. God bless you. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm going to take a drink real quick, and then we will continue reading. Oh, is that right, Scott? I'm not shocked. YouTube has been very buggy lately. So has the algorithm. Oh, you're going to be falling asleep, Katrina. That's okay. And may he bless you as well. Sleep tight and dream sweet. I love you. I'm glad you made it. We'll have to plan a voice chat for another time. I was already thinking that actually after I said it, because it's already after midnight now. Oh. Bye. Just had to ban somebody. It's been a while since I've had to ban somebody. So, I'm going to have a little bit of honey again for my throat. And then we will get to reading chapter 17. Okay. 1 Kings chapter 17. Now Elijah the Tishbite, we're getting to the good stuff. I say that so often, it's all good stuff. Now Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the settlers of Gilead, said to Ahab, As Yahweh, the God of Israel, lives, before whom I stand, surely there shall be neither dew nor rain these years, except by my word. Then the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, Go away from here and turn eastward, and hide yourself by the brook Cherith, which is east of the Jordan. And it will be that you will drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to sustain you there. So he went and did according to the word of Yahweh, for he went and lived by the brook Cherith, which is east of the Jordan. And the ravens were bringing him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening, and he would drink from the brook. Now it happened after a while that the brook dried up, because there was no rain in the land. Then the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, Arise, go to Zarephath, which belongs to Sidon, and remain there. Behold, I have commanded a widow there to sustain you. So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, a widow was there gathering sticks. And he called to her and said, Please get me a little water in a jar that I may drink. So she went to get it, and he called to her and said, Please get me a piece of bread in your hand. But she said, As Yahweh your God lives, I have no bread, only a handful of flour in the bowl and a little oil in the jar. And behold, I am gathering a few sticks that I may go in and prepare for me and my son, that we may eat and not die. Eat it and die, sorry. Then Elijah said to her, Do not fear, go. Do as you have said, but make me a little bread cake from it first, and bring it out to me, and afterward you may make one for yourself and for your son. For thus says Yahweh, the God of Israel, The bowl of flour shall not be exhausted, nor shall the jar of oil be empty, until the day that Yahweh sends rain on the face of the earth. So she went and did according to the word of Elijah, and she and he and her household ate for many days. The bowl of flour was not exhausted, nor did the jar of oil become empty, according to the word of Yahweh, which he spoke by the hand of Elijah. Now it happened... Ooh, honey gave me a bubble in my throat there. Oh, that's okay, Mick. It was quick. He made it real simple. I prefer that to somebody pretending for a while. We have somebody who comes in on a regular basis that has many accounts and brags about the many accounts, and even creates new ones according to things people say, because the next account they made to comment on videos around my YouTube was called something that they had said to him. It was really weird. But yeah, I think it's about every month and a half or 2 months this person comes in, and they have, usually we ban about 6 accounts before they leave us alone for that night. But I figure if they're in here trying to troll me, who they have no chance of convincing, at least that's time taken away from somebody they could be, you know, successful in turning away from God, or just, you know, hurting. Now it happened after these things that the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, became sick, and his sickness was so severe that there was no breath left in him. So she said to Elijah, "What do I have to do with you, O man of God? You have come to me to bring me iniquity to remembrance and to put my son to death." And he said to her, "Give me your son." Then he took him from her bosom and carried him up to the upper room where he was living and laid him on his own bed. Then he called to Yahweh and said, "O Yahweh my God, have you also brought calamity to the widow with whom I am sojourning by causing her son to die?" Then he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and called to Yahweh and said, "O Yahweh my God, I pray you, let this child's life return to him." And Yahweh heard the voice of Elijah, and the life of the child returned to him, and he became alive. Then Elijah took the child and brought him down from the upper room into the house and gave him to his mother. And Elijah said, "See, your son is alive." Then the woman said to Elijah, "Now I know this, that you are a man of God, and that the word of Yahweh in your mouth is truth." And that was chapter 17.
I was gonna say as a joke, as he was stretching upon the
Okay. What is the joke? Is it appropriate? Okay, well then, what are you doing? Check your heart, little man. Did Kenneth go and get toothbrushes like I asked?
Keegan got out the moment that...
Okay. Still, can you ask Kenny to check his Discord, please? Yeah, he does have too much time in his hands. That troll. Although considering he only comes every month and a half, I wonder if he's doing it to other channels the rest of the time, or if he just happens upon me by accident and is reminded. Excuse me. Okay, I'm going to take a drink and then we will read chapter 18. Welcome to those just joining us. God bless you. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. Check. Oh no, I hit the wrong thing. Give me just a second to get this back opened up. I didn't pause it, did I? No. Okay. Sorry about that. Just wanted to see if I could safely unplug my phone for a minute. And I can. There we go. All right. If anybody needs prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. Happy Resurrection Sunday. Scott said some of those trolls are dedicated to doing just that alone. It's insane. Yeah.
What?
They're doing the work of Satan. Sad.
Oh, those trolls.
Yeah, we were just talking about trolls that kind of haunt the live stream. So 1 Kings chapter 18. Now it happened after many days that the word of Yahweh came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, "Go, show yourself to Ahab, and I will send rain on the face of the earth." Excuse me. So Elijah went to show himself to Ahab. Now the famine was severe in Samaria, and Ahab called Obadiah, who was over the household. Now Obadiah feared Yahweh greatly, and it happened that when Jezebel was cutting down the prophets of Yahweh, Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50s in a cave and sustained them with bread and water. Then Ahab said to Obadiah, "Go through the land to all the springs of water and to all the valleys. Perhaps we will find grass and keep the horses and mules alive, and not have to cut down some of the cattle." So they divided the land between them to pass through it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. Now it happened that as Obadiah was on the way, behold, Elijah met him, and he recognized him and fell on his face and said, "Is this you, Elijah, my master?" And he said to him, "It is I." "Go say to your master, behold, Elijah is here." And he said, "What sin have I committed that you are giving your servant into the hand of Ahab to put me to death? As Yahweh your God lives, there is no nation or kingdom where my master has not sent to search for you. And if they said, 'He is not here,' he made the kingdom or nation swear that they could not find you. And now you are saying, 'Go say to your master, behold, Elijah is here.' And it will be that when I leave you, the Spirit of Yahweh will carry you where I do not know, and I will come and tell Ahab, and he will not find you, and he will kill me, although I, your servant, have feared Yahweh from my youth. Has it not been told to my master what I did when Jezebel killed the prophets of Yahweh, that I hid 100 prophets of Yahweh by 50s in a cave, and sustained them with bread and water? So now you are saying, 'Go say to your master, behold, Elijah is here. He will then kill me.' And Elijah said, 'As Yahweh of hosts lives, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself to him today.' So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. Now it happened when Ahab saw Elijah that Ahab said to him, 'Is this you, you troubler of Israel?' And he said, 'I have not troubled Israel, but you and your father's house have, because you have forsaken the commandments of Yahweh, and you have followed the Baals. So now then send and gather to me all Israel at Mount Carmel, together with 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of the Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table.' So Ahab sent a message among all the sons of Israel and gathered the prophets together at Mount Carmel. And Elijah came near to all the people and said, 'How long will you be limping between two opinions? If Yahweh is God, follow him, but if Baal, follow him.' But the people did not answer him a word. Then Elijah said to the people, 'I alone am left a prophet of Yahweh, but Baal's prophets are 450 men. Now let them give us 2 oxen, and let them choose 1 ox for themselves, and cut it up, and place it on the wood, but place no fire under it, and I will prepare the other ox and put it on the wood, and I will not place fire under it. Then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of Yahweh, and the God who answers by fire, he is God.' And all the people answered and said, 'That is a good word.' So Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, 'Choose 1 ox for yourselves and prepare it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your God, but place no fire under it.' Then they took the ox which was given them, and they prepared it and called on the name of Baal from morning until noon, saying, 'O Baal, answer us.' But there was no voice, and no one answered. And they limped about the altar which they had made. Now it happened at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, 'Call out with a loud voice, for he is a god. Either he is occupied or relieving himself, or is on a journey, or perhaps he is asleep and needs to be awakened.' So they cried with a loud voice and gashed themselves according to their custom with swords and lances, until the blood gushed out on them. Now it happened when noon had passed that they prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, but there was no voice, no one answered, and no one paid attention. Then Elijah said to all the people, 'Come near to me.' So all the people came near to him, and he repaired the altar of Yahweh which had been pulled down. Then Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of Yahweh had come, saying, 'Israel shall be your name.' And with the stones he built an altar in the name of Yahweh, and he made a trench around the altar large enough to hold 2 seahs of seed. Then he arranged the wood and cut the ox in pieces and placed it on the wood. And he said, 'Fill 4 pitchers with water and pour it on the burnt offering and on the wood.' And he said, 'Do it a second time.' And they did it a second time. And he said, 'Do it a third time.' And they did it a third time. And the water flowed around the altar, and he also filled the trench with water. Now it happened at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, 'O Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, today let it be known that you are God in Israel, and that I am your slave, and I have done all these things at your word. Answer me, O Yahweh, answer me, that this people may know that you, O Yahweh, are God, and that you have turned their heart back again.' Then the fire of Yahweh fell and consumed the burnt offering, and the wood and the stones and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. And all the people saw it and fell on their faces and said, 'Yahweh, he is God, Yahweh, he is God.' Then Elijah said to them, 'Seize the prophets of Baal, do not let one of them escape.' So they seized them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon, and slaughtered them there. Now Elijah said to Ahab, "Go up, eat and drink, for there is the sound of the tumult of rain." So Ahab went up to eat and drink, but Elijah went up to the top of Carmel, and he stretched himself down toward the ground and put his face between his knees. And he said to his young man, "Go up now, look toward the sea." So he went up and looked and said, "There is nothing." And he said, "Go back 7 times. Now it happened at the 7th time that he said, "Behold, a cloud as small as a man's hand is coming up from the sea." And he said, "Go up, say to Ahab, prepare your chariot and go down, so that the rain does not stop you." Now it happened that in a little while the sky grew dark with clouds and wind, and there was a heavy rain. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel. But the hand of Yahweh was on Elijah, and he girded up his loins and outran Ahab unto where you entered Jezreel. And that was chapter 18 of 1 Kings. Yes, he does need Jesus. We all do. I just wish everybody would know that. Welcome to those just coming in. God bless you. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm going to take a drink and then we will continue reading.
Like, God set fire to
Oh no, he couldn't do that or wouldn't do that because it could be misconstrued like, oh, their God had finally shown up. Sorry for coughing in your guys' ear. Welcome to those just coming in. God bless you and happy Resurrection Sunday. He is risen. God is good. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. We are headed into 1 Kings chapter 19. I just keep checking my phone is charged to, because occasionally it will suddenly just all of a sudden be dead because I'm using it for a hotspot for my computer to run faster. Okay, 1 Kings chapter 19. Now Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done and how he had killed all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah, saying, "So may the gods do to me and even more if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by about this time tomorrow." And he was afraid and arose and ran for his life and came to Beersheba, which belongs to Judah, and left his young man there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a broom tree, and he asked for himself that he might die, and said, "It is enough now, O Yahweh, take my life, for I am not better than my father's." Then he lay down and slept under a broom tree, and behold, there was an angel touching him, and he said to him, "Arise, eat." Then he looked, and behold, there was at his head a bread cake baked on hot stones, and a jar of water. So he ate and drank and lay down again. And the angel of Yahweh came again a second time and touched him and said, "Arise, eat, because the journey is too great for you." So he arose and ate and drank and went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mountain of God. Then he came there to a cave and lodged there, and behold, the word of Yahweh came to him, and he said to him, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" And he said, "I have been very zealous for Yahweh, the God of hosts, for the sons of Israel have forsaken your covenant, pulled down your altars, and killed your prophets with the sword. And I alone am left, and they seek my life to take it away." So he said, "Go forth and stand on the mountain before Yahweh." And behold, Yahweh was passing by. And a great and strong wind was tearing up the mountains and breaking in pieces the rocks before Yahweh, but Yahweh was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but Yahweh was not in the earthquake. Then after the earthquake, a fire, but Yahweh was not in the fire. And after the fire, a sound of a thin, gentle whisper. Now it happened that when Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood in the entrance of the cave. And behold, a voice came to him and said, "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Then he said, "I have been very zealous for Yahweh, the God of hosts, For the sons of Israel have forsaken your covenant, pulled down your altars, and killed your prophets with the sword. And I alone am left, and they seek my life to take it away. And Yahweh said to him, Go, return on your way to the wilderness of Damascus, and you will arrive and anoint Hazael king of Aram. And Jehu the son of Nimshi you shall anoint king over Israel. And Elisha the son of Shaphat of Abel Meholah. Yeah, Abel Meholah. Sorry, I'm adding some vowels there. You shall anoint as prophet in your place. And it will be that the one who escapes from the sword of Hazael, Jehu shall put to death, and the one who escapes from the sword of Jehu, Elisha shall put to death. Yet I will leave 7,000 in Israel, all the knees that have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him. So he went from there and found Elisha, the son of Shaphat, while he was plowing with 12 pairs of oxen before him, and he with the 12. And Elijah passed over to him and threw his mantle on him. So he forsook the oxen and ran after Elijah and said, Please let me kiss my father and my mother, then I will follow you. And he said to him, Go back again, for what have I done to you? So he returned from following him, and took the pair of oxen and sacrificed them, and boiled their flesh with the implements of the oxen, and gave it to the people, and they ate. Then he arose and followed Elijah and ministered to him. And that was chapter 19. We just have a couple more chapters left of this book, and then we will be reading John 20. Since it is Resurrection Sunday. Welcome to those just joining us. God bless you. I hope you are well. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm going to take a drink and then we will continue on to chapter 20. Yes. Ready to come up. Well, yeah, we'll talk about that later, honey. Okay, 1 Kings chapter 20. Now Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, gathered all his military force, and there were 32 kings with him, and horses and chariots. And he went up and besieged Samaria and fought against it. Then he sent messengers to the city to Ahab, king of Israel, and said to him, Thus says Ben-Hadad, Your silver and your gold are mine, your most beautiful wives and children are also mine. Then the king of Israel answered and said, It is according to your word, my lord, O king. I am yours and all that I have. Then the messengers returned and said, Thus says Ben-Hadad, Surely I sent to you, saying, You shall give me your silver and your gold and your wives and your children. But about this time tomorrow I will send my servants to you, and they will search your house and the houses of your servants, and whatever is desirable in your eyes they will put in their hand and carry away. Then the king of Israel called all the elders of the land and said, Please know and see how this man is looking for trouble, for he sent to me for my wives and my children and my silver and my gold, and I withheld nothing from him. And all the elders and all the people said to him, Do not listen or consent. So he said to the messengers of Ben-Hadad, Say to my lord the king, all that you sent for to your servant at the first I will do, but this thing I cannot do. And the messengers departed and brought him word again. Then Ben-Hadad sent to him and said, May the gods do so to me, and more also, if the dust of Samaria will be sufficient for a handful for all the people who follow me. Then the king of Israel answered and said, Speak to him. Let not him who girds on his armor boast like him who takes it off. Now it happened that when Ben-Hadad heard this message, as he was drinking with the kings in the booths, he said to his servants, Station yourselves. So they stationed themselves against the city. Now behold, a prophet approached Ahab, king of Israel, and said, Thus says Yahweh, Have you seen all this great multitude? Behold, I will deliver them into your hand today, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. And Ahab said, By whom? So he said, Thus says Yahweh, By the young men of the rulers of the provinces. Then he said, Who shall begin the battle? And he said, You. Then he mustered the young men of the rulers of the provinces, and there were 232. And after them he mustered all the people, even all the sons of Israel, 7,000. And they went out at noon, while Ben-Hadad was drinking himself drunk in the booths with the 32 kings who helped him. And the young men of the rulers of the provinces went out first, and Ben-Hadad sent out, and they told him, saying, Men have come out from Samaria. Then he said, If they have come out for peace, take them alive, or if they have come out for war, take them alive. So these went out from the city, the young men of the rulers of the provinces, and the military force which followed them. And they each struck his man, and the Arameans fled, and Israel pursued them. And Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, escaped on a horse with horsemen. And the king of Israel went out and struck down the horses and chariots, and struck the Arameans with a great slaughter. Then the prophet came near to the king of Israel and said to him, Go, strengthen yourself, and know and see what you have to do. Go strengthen yourself and know and see what you have to do. For at the turn of the year, the king of Aram will come up against you. Now the servants of the king of Aram said to him, Their gods are gods of the mountains, therefore they were stronger than we. But rather let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we will be stronger than they. Do this thing, remove the kings, each from his place, and put captains in their place, and you shall number a military force like the military force that you have lost, horse for horse, and chariot for chariot. Then we will fight against them in the plain, and surely we will be stronger than they. And he listened to their voice and did so. Oh, Scott, you're going? I didn't see the comments. Let me see. Okay. I'm praying for you, honey. I hope I didn't miss you. Well, maybe you already left. God bless you. I will keep you in my prayers, and I hope you have a wonderful Resurrection Sunday. Now it happened at the turn of the year that Ben-Hadad mustered the Arameans and went up to Aphek to fight against Israel. Now the sons of Israel were mustered and were provided for and went to meet them. And the sons of Israel camped before them like 2 little flocks of goats, but the Arameans filled the land. Then a man of God came near and spoke to the king of Israel and said, Thus says Yahweh, because the Arameans have said, Yahweh is a God of the mountains, but he is not a God of the valleys. Therefore I will give all this great multitude into your hand, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. So they camped one opposite the other 7 days. Now it happened that on the 7th day the battle was joined, and the sons of Israel struck down of the Arameans 100,000 foot soldiers in 1 day. But the rest fled to Aphek into the city, and the wall fell on 27,000 men who were left. And Ben-Hadad fled and came into the city into an inner chamber. Then his servants said to him, Behold, now we have heard that the kings of the house of Israel are kings of loving kindness. Please let us put sackcloth on our loins and ropes on our heads and go out to the king of Israel. Perhaps he will preserve your life. So they girded sackcloth on their loins and put ropes on their heads and came to the king of Israel and said, Your servant Ben-Hadad says, Please let me live. And he said, Is he still alive? He is my brother. Now the men interpreted this as an omen, and hastily catching his words said, Your brother Ben-Hadad. Then he said, Go bring him. Then Ben-Hadad came out to him, and he took him up into the chariot. And Ben-Hadad said to him, The cities which my father took from your father I will return, and you shall make streets for yourself in Damascus, as my father made in Samaria. Ahab said, And I will let you go with this covenant. So he cut a covenant with him and let him go. Now a certain man of the sons of the prophets said to another by the word of Yahweh, Please strike me. But the man refused to strike him. Then he said to him, Because you have not listened to the voice of Yahweh, behold, as soon as you walk away from me, a lion will strike you down. And as soon as he had walked away from him, a lion found him and struck him down. Then he found another man and said, Please strike me. And the man struck him, wounding him. So the prophet walked away and stood by for the king by the way, and disguised himself with a bandage over his eye. Now it happened that as the king was passing by, he cried out to the king and said, Your servant went out into the midst of the battle, and behold, a man turned aside and brought a man to me and said, Guard this man. If for any reason he is missing, then your life shall be for his life, or else you shall pay a talent of silver. Now it happened that while your servant was busy here and there, he was gone. And the king of Israel said to him, Go, so shall your judgment be. You yourself have decided it. Then he hastily took the bandage away from his eyes, and the king of Israel recognized him, that he was of the prophets. And he said to him, Thus says Yahweh, because you have let go out of your hand the man whom I had devoted to destruction, therefore your life shall go for his life, and your people for his people. So the king of Israel went to his house sullen and enraged, and came to Samaria. And that was chapter 20. Oh, Jer, if you're talking to Mick, yeah, he is over in the server. I'm going to take a drink real quick and carry on reading. 1 Kings chapter 21. Now it happened. Goodness, tripped over my lips for a minute. Now it happened after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel beside the palace of Ahab king of Samaria. And Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, Give me your vineyard, that I may have it for a vegetable garden, because it is close beside my house, and I will give you a better vineyard than it in its place, if it is good in your sight. I will give you the price of it in money. But Naboth said to Ahab, Yahweh forbid me that I should give you the inheritance of my fathers. So Ahab came into his house sullen and enraged because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him, for he said, I will not give you the inheritance of my fathers. And he lay down on his bed and turned away his face and ate no food. Throwing a fit. Toddler. But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said to him, How is it that your spirit is so sullen that you are not eating food? So he said to her, Because I spoke to Naboth the Jezreelite, and said to him, Give me your vineyard for money, or else, if it pleases you, I will give you a vineyard in its place. But he said, I will not give you my vineyard. And Jezebel, his wife, said to him, Do you now exercise kingship over Israel? Arise, eat bread, and let your heart be merry. I will give you the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. His big bad wife came to give him what he wants. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal, and sent letters to the elders and to the nobles who were living with Naboth in his city. And she wrote in the letters, saying, Call for a fast, and seat Naboth at the head of the people. And seat 2 vile men before him, and let them testify against him, saying, You cursed God and the king. Then take him out and stone him so that he will die. So the men of his city, the elders of the nobles who lived in his city, did as Jezebel had sent word to them, just as it was written in the letters which she had sent them. They called for a fast and seated Naboth at the head of the people. Then the 2 vile men came in and sat before him, and the vile men testified against him, against Naboth, before the people, saying, Naboth cursed God and the king. So they took him outside the city and stoned him with stones, and he died. Then they sent word to Jezebel, saying, Naboth has been stoned and is dead. Now it happened that when Jezebel heard that Naboth had been stoned and was dead, Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give you for money, for Naboth is not alive but dead. Now it happened that when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, Ahab arose to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, to take possession of it. Then the word of Yahweh came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab king of Israel, who is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, where he has gone down to take possession of it. And you shall speak to him, saying, Thus says Yahweh, Have you murdered and also taken possession? And you shall speak to him, saying, Thus says Yahweh, In the place where the dogs licked up the blood of Naboth the kings will lick up your blood, even yours. And Ahab said to Elijah, Have you found me, O my enemy? And he answered, I have found you, because you have sold yourself to do what is evil in the sight of Yahweh. Behold, I will bring evil upon you, and will utterly sweep you away, and will cut off from Ahab every male, both bond and free, in Israel. And I will make your house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahijah, because of the provocation with which you have provoked me to anger, and because you have made Israel sin. Of Jezebel also has Yahweh spoken, saying, the dogs will eat Jezebel in the district of Jezreel. The one belonging to Ahab who dies in the city, the dogs will eat, and the one who dies in the field, the birds of the sky will eat. Surely there was no one who sold himself to do what is evil in the sight of Yahweh like Ahab, whom Jezebel his wife incited, and he acted very abominably in following idols, according to all that the Amorites had done, whom Yahweh dispossessed before the sons of Israel. Now it happened when Ahab heard these words, that he tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and fasted, and he lay in sackcloth and went about despondently. Then the word of Yahweh came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, do you see how Ahab has humbled himself before me? Because he has humbled himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but I will bring the evil upon his house in his son's days. And that was 1 Kings chapter 21. How are you guys doing tonight? Welcome to those just joining us. Happy Resurrection Sunday. Gonna drink real quick and then we will read, I believe this is the last chapter.
I'm slowly drifting into
before we read John 20.
and then we'll talk a little bit. Then we will talk in the stream.
I don't know if you guys can hear Stephen.
I'm yammering.
He's yammering.
A little bit. Drifting to sleep. What can you think?
Yes, John chapter 20. I believe that's what I'm reading. Do I have it wrong? I think it is. Let me check it again. Should be. Hang on a second here. My mouse is so jumpy. Yeah, John 20. Okay. Oh, you can hear him, Jer. I wasn't sure because I have the fans on and he's over laying on my bed. 1 Kings chapter 22. So they lived for 3 years without war between Aram and Israel. Now it happened in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat the king of Judah came down to the king of Israel. Then the king of Israel said to his servants, do you know that Ramoth Gilead belongs to us, but we are sitting still so as not to take it out of the hand of the king of Aram? Sorry, my throat. So he said to Jehoshaphat, will you go with me to battle at Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as you are, my people as your people, my horses as your horses. Moreover, Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, please inquire first of the word of Yahweh. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said to them, shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I refrain? And they said, go up, for the Lord will give it into the hand of the king. But Jehoshaphat said, is there not yet a prophet of Yahweh here that we may inquire of him? And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, there is yet one man by whom we may inquire of Yahweh, but I hate him, because he does not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. That should tell you something, sir. He is Micaiah son of Imlah. But Jehoshaphat said, let not the king say so. Then the king of Israel called an officer and said, hasten to bring Micaiah son of Imlah. Now the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat king of Judah were sitting each on his throne, clothed in their royal garments, at the threshing floor at the entrance of the gate of Samaria. And all the prophets were prophesying before them. And Zedekiah the son of Hananiah, I think we struggled with this one before, Chenana, or Canana. 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 made horns of iron for himself and said, "Thus says Yahweh, with these you will gore the Arameans until they are consumed." All the prophets were also prophesying thus, saying, "Go up to Ramoth Gilead and succeed, and Yahweh will give it into the hand of the king." Now the messenger who went to summon Micaiah spoke to him, saying, "Behold now, the words of the prophets, as if from one mouth, are good towards the king. Please let your word be like the word of one of them, and speak that which is good." But Micaiah said, "As Yahweh lives, what Yahweh says to me, that I shall speak." Then he came to the king, and the king said to him, "Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we refrain?" And he said to him, "Go up and succeed, and Yahweh will give it into the hand of the king." Then the king said to him, "How many times must I make you swear that you will speak to me nothing but the truth in the name of Yahweh?" So he said, "I saw all Israel scattered on the mountains like sheep which have no shepherd, and Yahweh said, 'These have no master. Let each of them return to his house in peace.'" Then the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "Did I not say to you that he would not prophesy good concerning me, but evil?" Then Micaiah said, "Therefore, hear the word of Yahweh. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right and on his left. And Yahweh said, 'Who will entice Ahab so that he will go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead?' And one said this while another said that." Hang on. Sorry. Then a spirit came forward and stood before Yahweh and said, "I will entice him." And Yahweh said to him, "How?" And he said, "I will go out and be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets." Then he said, "You shall entice him and also prevail. Go out and do so." So now, behold, Yahweh has put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these your prophets, but Yahweh has spoken calamity against you. Then Zedekiah the son of Chenaanah came near and struck Micaiah on the cheek and said, "How did the spirit of Yahweh pass from me to speak to you?" And Micaiah said, "Behold, you will see on that day when you enter an inner room to hide." Then the king of Israel said, "Take Micaiah and return him to Amon, the commander of the city, and to Joash the king's son, and say, 'Thus says the king, put this man in prison and feed him sparingly with bread and water until I come back safely.'" And Micaiah said, "If you indeed return safely, Yahweh has not spoken by me." And he said, "Listen, all you people." So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, went up against Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, "I will disguise myself and go into the battle, but you put on your garments." So the king of Israel disguised himself and went into the battle. Now the king of Aram had commanded the 32 commanders of his chariot, saying, "Do not fight with small or great, but with the king of Israel alone." Now it happened that when the commanders of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, they said, "Surely it is the king of Israel," and they turned aside to fight against him. And Jehoshaphat cried out. So it happened that when the commanders of the chariots saw that it was not the king of Israel, they turned back from pursuing him. Now a certain man drew his bow at random and struck the king of Israel in a joint of the armor. So he said to the driver of his chariot, "Turn around and take me out of the fight, for I am severely wounded." Now the battle raged that day, and the king was propped up in his chariot in front of the Arameans and died at evening. And the blood from the wound ran into the bottom of the chariot. Then a shout of lament passed throughout the camp close to sunset, saying, "Every man to his city and every man to his land." So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. And they washed the chariot by the pool of Samaria, and the dogs licked up his blood. Now the harlots bathed themselves there. Ew. According to the word of Yahweh, which he spoke. Now the rest of the acts of Ahab, and all that he did, and the ivory house which he built, and all the cities which he built, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? So Ahab slept with his fathers, and Ahaziah his son became king in his place. Now Jehoshaphat the son of Asa became king over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab king of Israel. Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he became king, and he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi. And he walked in all the way of Asa his father. He did not turn away from it, doing what is right in the sight of Yahweh. However, the high places were not taken away. The people still sacrificed and burnt incense on the high places. Jehoshaphat also made peace with the king of Israel. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat and his might, which he showed, and how he warred, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah? And the remnant of the male cult prostitutes who remained in the days of his father Asa, he purged from the land. Now there was no king in Edom, a deputy was king. Jehoshaphat made ships of Tarshish to go to Ophir for gold, but they did not go, for the ships were broken at Ezion-Geber. Then Ahaziah the son of Ahab said to Jehoshaphat, "Let my servants go with your servants in the ships." But Jehoshaphat was not willing. And Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of his father David, and Jehoram his son became king in his place. Ahaziah the son of Ahab became king over Israel and Samaria in the 17th year of Jehoshaphat king of Judah, and he reigned 2 years over Israel. And he did what was evil in the sight of Yahweh, and walked in the way of his father, and in the way of his mother, and in the way of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who caused Israel to sin. So he served Baal, and worshipped him, and provoked Yahweh, the God of Israel, to anger, according to all that his father had done. And that was chapter 22 and the final chapter of 1 Kings. So we have finished 1 Kings, and now I'm going to go to the book of John and read chapter 20 for Resurrection Sunday. And we may go ahead and just read through to chapter 21 as well. Welcome to those just coming in. God bless you. If you need prayer, please don't hesitate to ask. Happy Resurrection Sunday. I'm going to take a drink and then we will read. John chapter 20, the empty tomb. Now on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene came early to the tomb while it was still dark, and saw the stone already taken away from the tomb. So she ran and came to Simon Peter and to the other disciple whom Jesus loved, and said to them, "They have taken away the Lord out of the tomb, and we do not know where they have laid him." So Peter and the other disciple went forth, and they were going to the tomb, and the two were running together. And the other disciple ran ahead faster than Peter, and came to the tomb first. And stooping and looking in, he saw the linen wrappings lying there, but he did not go in. And so Simon Peter also came following him, and entered the tomb, and he saw the linen wrappings lying there, and the face cloth which had been on his head, not lying with the linen wrappings, but folded up in a place by itself. So the other disciple who had first come to the tomb then also entered, and he saw and believed. For as yet they did not understand the scripture, that he must rise again from the dead. So the disciples went away again to where they were staying. But Mary was standing outside the tomb crying, and so, as she was crying, she stooped to look into the tomb, and she saw two angels in white sitting, one at the head and one at the feet, where the body of Jesus had been lying. And they said to her, "Woman, why are you crying?" She said to them, "Because they have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." When she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, and did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to her, "Woman, why are you crying? Whom are you seeking?" Thinking him to be the gardener, she said to him, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him in Hebrew, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said to her, "Stop clinging to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. But go to my brothers and say to them, I ascend to my Father and your Father, and my God and your God." Mary Magdalene came, announcing to the disciples, "I have seen the Lord," and that he had said these things to her. So while it was evening on that day, the first day of the week, and while the doors were shut where the disciples were, for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood in their midst, and said to them, "Peace be with you." And when he had said this, he showed them both his hands and his side. The disciples then rejoiced when they saw the Lord. So Jesus said to them again, "Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, I also send you." And when he had said this, he breathed on them and said to them, "Receive the Holy Spirit. If you forgive the sins of any, their sins have been forgiven them. If you retain the sins of any, they have been retained." But Thomas, one of the 12, called Didymus, was not with them when Jesus came. So the other disciples were saying to him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see in his hands the imprint of the nails, and put my finger into the place of the nails, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." And after 8 days, his disciples were again inside, and Thomas with him. Jesus came, the doors having been shut, and stood in their midst and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Bring your finger here and see my hands, and bring your hand here and put it into my side, and do not be unbelieving, but believing." Thomas answered and said to him, "My Lord and my God." Jesus said to him, "Because you have seen me, have you believed? Blessed are those who did not see and yet believed." Therefore, many other signs Jesus also did in the presence of the disciples, which are not written in this book. But these have been written so that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, that believing you may have life in his name. And I'll go ahead and read chapter 21 after I take a drink real quick. Looks like people are starting to go. I hope everybody sleeps tight and dreams sweet after this. John chapter 21. After these things, Jesus manifested himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias, and he manifested himself in this way. Simon Peter and Thomas called Didymus, and Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, and the sons of Zebedee, and 2 others of his disciples were together. Simon Peter said to them, "I am going fishing." They said to him, "We will also come with you." They went out and got into the boat, and that night they caught nothing. But when the day was now breaking, Jesus stood on the beach, yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. So Jesus said to them, "Children, do you have any fish?" They answered him, "No." And he said to them, "Cast the net on the right side of the boat, and you will find some." So they cast, and then they were not able to haul it in because of the great number of fish. Therefore that disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, "It is the Lord." So when Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put his outer garment on, for he was stripped for work, and cast himself into the sea. But the other disciples came in the little boat, for they were not far from the land, but about 200 cubits away, dragging the net full of fish. So when they got on the land, they saw a charcoal fire in place, and fish placed on it, and bread. Jesus said to them, "Bring some of the fish which you have now caught." Simon Peter went up and drew the net to land, full of large fish, 153, and although there were so many, the net was not torn. Jesus said to them, "Come, have breakfast." Imagine getting cooked for by Jesus. Wouldn't that be amazing? None of the disciples dared to question him, "Who are you?" knowing that it was the Lord. Jesus came and took the bread and gave it to them, and the fish likewise. This is now the 3rd time that Jesus was manifested to the disciples after he was raised from the dead. So when they had finished breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Tend my lambs." He said to him again a second time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" He said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He said to him, "Shepherd my sheep." He said to him the 3rd time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was grieved because he said to him the 3rd time, "Do you love me?" And he said to him, "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." Jesus said to him, "Tend my sheep. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were younger, you used to gird yourself and walk wherever you wished. Let me start over. Tend my sheep. Truly, truly, I say to you, when you were younger, you used to gird yourself and walk wherever you wished. But when you grow old, you will stretch out your hand, and someone else will gird you and bring you where you do not wish to go. Now this he said, signifying by what kind of death he would glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he said to him, Follow me. Peter, turning around, saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following them, the one who also had leaned back on his bosom at the supper, and said, Lord, who is the one who betrays you? So Peter, seeing him, said to Jesus, Lord, and what about this man? Jesus said to him, If I want him to remain until I come, what is that to you? You follow me. Therefore, this saying went out among the brothers that this disciple would not die. Yet Jesus did not say to him that he would not die, but only, If I want him to remain until I come, what is that to you? This is the disciple who is bearing witness to these things and wrote these things, and we know that his witness is true. And there are also many other things which Jesus did, which if they were written one after the other, I suppose that even the world itself could not contain the books that would be written. And that is the end of John. Oh, thank you, Mick. I appreciate you so much. God bless you. And thank you so much. So that is where we leave off tonight. Happy Resurrection Sunday. He is risen. Praise God. And let me just say a quick prayer before we close out the live. Father God, I come before you tonight with a thankful heart. Thank you so much for the great sacrifice that you did for us, Lord, that we don't deserve. And we're so grateful and thankful. And we ask that you help us to be who you want us to be, Lord. Embolden us. Give us strength. Help us to know and to trust and to be still and just be who you want us to be, and to go out and make more disciples, Lord, that more would know you and have your peace and get to be with you when this is all said and done. We thank you, Lord, and we love you. And I thank you for each person who has heard the word tonight, Lord. Please bless them. Help everybody to sleep well and to dream sweet and to wake up refreshed tomorrow with the knowledge that you love them and that you are risen. And we just thank you so much. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay. Sorry, I get a little emotional when I pray. Again, I appreciate each of you. Thank you so much, Mick. Message me if you have a chance. I would love to catch up. I have missed you. So God bless each of you. And I hope to talk to you again soon. I'm always available to chat over on the Discord. Well, I'm not always available, but you can always send me a message, and as soon as I see it, I will respond. And you can also request prayer over there, or just chat with other people. We have a section for funnies and for off-topic stuff, and pretty soon we'll be doing another movie night. Yes, Jesus loves you too, Jer, and so do I. God bless. Bye-bye.